This is the ultimate adventure camera bag ever made. It's the Coalax Lancer 300 modular outdoor backpack. Designed specifically for creators on the go, it is rugged, has an insane amount of capacity, and is completely customizable depending on your needs. It uses this unique exoskeleton design that makes the backpack feel really rugged and sturdy, as well as the ability to attach these selfie sticks, which is perfect for attaching your action camera, 360 camera, or even a small mirrorless camera so you can create content hands-free. But is all this a little too good to be true? Or could this be the last camera bag you'll ever need? Well, that's exactly what we'll be finding out in this video. Hey there, my name is Bruno Pozo. I'm a commercial filmmaker in Bend, Oregon, and I make weekly videos on filmmaking technique, gear, and how to make more money with your camera. If any of that interests you, hit that like and subscribe. Now, onto the review. For the longest time, camera bags really haven't changed much, right? They all have the same similar design with a main compartment, maybe some side compartments, these customizable dividers, a laptop sleeve, and some spots to put some accessories. So what makes the Lancer 300 so special is that Coalax added a ton of extra features that I've never seen on any other camera bag. For starters, that exoskeleton design makes it a lot sturdier and allows you to pack it in a little more densely without necessarily losing the shape of the bag or possibly distorting the distribution of weight in the camera bag. They also were able to jam-pack this thing with a ton of space. I believe it's 35 liters in its full capacity, but is divided between these separate modular bags, which we'll cover on later. And the biggest takeaway feature from this bag is definitely the power bank that actually acts as the centerpiece of the camera bag. But I'll cover more about that later on in this video. So with this camera bag, you're not just getting something to hold all of your equipment in. You're actually getting something that protects it because it is technically waterproof. You also get a tripod and a light stand using the selfie sticks on each side of the camera bag. And you're able to have power on location no matter where you are in the great outdoors. So let's start by seeing how much you can actually pack in to this bag. So on the back of the camera, you can see we have the waist strap here and the zip just gets undone. And when you open this, this is the main compartment, which holds about 24 liters worth of stuff. And as you can see here, I have a ton of equipment here, mainly the camera body. And then in this little small corner of the pocket, I have some camera batteries and the charger for them. And in this main compartment, I actually put my Canon RF 28-70, which is a huge, roughly 3-pound lens. And then I have 2 spots for my Rode mics. And it still has space for my 70-200 f2.8 lens with the sun hood still on, just in the reverse position. So as you can see, this thing can hold a ton of space just in the main compartment alone. And this is just one section of the backpack. In the sleeve here, which is just adjacent to the main compartment, you actually have a laptop sleeve here, which technically it fits my 14-inch MacBook, but if you have a smaller, or rather a larger MacBook than the 14-inch model, you definitely won't be able to fit this because it barely fits my 14-inch version. But it's really nice that it does happen to fit perfectly my model. And then you have some zippers here. I actually put some excess cables and like cleaning gear for some of my equipment, some hot shoe replacements in these spots. But I actually put most of my filters and other camera accessories in the other bag, which I'll show you here shortly. All right, moving to the front of the Coalax Lancer 300, you can see it's separated into sort of 3 divisions here. The top bag here, which is considered the drone bag. This middle section, which is where they have the power supply, but you can also interchange this for a 3rd bag. And the very bottom here, which is just another compartment, which actually connects to the back compartment, which we just saw earlier. So let's delve deeper and show off all the little compartments you have in each of these sections. So here we have the drone bag, and as you can see, when you open this sucker up, you have This main compartment is where you'd probably keep the drone body. My drone is actually just sold, so I'm gonna buy a new one. But I keep the rain cover here for now, and then all these separate compartments for the wings, the batteries, or any other accessories you need for the drone. And then on the top here in this velvety area, you have another zipper where you can keep extra cables or other accessories as well. And so this alone has enough storage. And as you can see, I'm actually struggling to find things to put in here. So I actually put my microphone and that rain cover in here just for now. And going back to the modularity of this camera bag, there is actually a release here on each side of the exoskeleton that allows you to detach this camera bag. And then you just undo the Velcro at the bottom here. And then all you end up left with is the drone bag itself. And with the help of a bunch of the extra straps they bring you, you can actually wear this and use this as a sling. Let me show you. And just by connecting 2 hooks to each ear of the bag with this strap, you see you have a very convenient and easy to carry on sling bag for your drone, or even a small camera kit you want to take with you on the go. Now, easily the most unique part of this bag is clearly its power bank that's built into the middle section that you can detach and attach at your will. As you can see here, you gain access to a ton of different ports, just like wall outlets, even with the 3rd prong here. You have your on and off switch, of course, because you don't need this thing running the whole time. And then you can, of course, this is where you would charge it. This is the input, which comes with the kit as well. But then you have 2 sources of high power delivery USB-C ports, 2 high power delivery USB-A ports, and even a DC out port. So you could plug in certain lights and other accessories that use this sort of outlet. Now, the only issue with these ports is that if you're using some sort of brick like this, it doesn't quite fit in either direction. So you're gonna need a much smaller brick, which is fine. There's plenty of these that exist, but you might be blocking the other outlet by doing so. Luckily, I don't mind because I end up just using USB-C with high power delivery anyway. And as you can see, when you plug in a power source, it immediately turns on. And on this dial here, you can see its usage, its estimated time of life, and sort of the delivery of power that it's providing. And if we go to the side of this backpack, on this battery pack, you also have a light that you can use in case you ever need it if you're out hiking and it gets really dark. Unfortunately, there's only one brightness on this and it's pretty bright, but it does come in handy when needed. Now, this battery is a 300-watt battery. So as much as I'd love to take this on travel trips or anything where I need to fly to my location, I cannot because this goes over the air traffic limit. So you will have to actually take this out, but that's fairly easy. There's a latch here you just hold onto and you slide it right out. And don't worry, you don't have to look at this terribly ugly missing hole in the back because, as we've mentioned, this thing is modular. So it comes with this accessory bag, this chest bag that you can actually apply to this location when that battery is not in use. And it's just very simple. I've already attached the hooks on the side, and so all I have to do is now tighten the buckles, snap them both on, and just like that, we have the chest bag fully applied, and we have extra storage that we can use here as well. And as just to give you a quick look, this is the main compartment, which just gives you more free space here for possibly cables, maybe filters I would use in that location. And when you undo the zipper here, you get all this extra space. Once again, another pocket with a zipper. You got this layers with all these different little pockets meant for holding things a little more securely here. You go on to this side, there's more of this plastic see-through compartment that you can use. And then, of course, all this empty space within here that is also supported by these waistbands to help keep it nice and tight and secure so that this bag isn't really protruding out. And we have finally arrived to the bottom pocket, which is the least special of all these because it essentially is an extension of the main compartment. As you can see, by this divider that's actually kind of bulging because of the contents on the main compartment. But once again, they still have a nice soft velvet pocket here with a zipper that you can put certain cables. And all I put in here was actually my camera strap and the power adapter for the power bank. Nothing special, but it holds extra stuff. And as you can see, I'm struggling because of all the special compartments and pockets on this camera bag to even find things to fill this up with. So one of my favorite parts about this camera bag is the attachable selfie sticks that you can attach to either side of the camera bag. This is really great for capturing any sort of unique point of view shot you can, especially if you had a 360 camera. I think this selfie stick comes in really clutch. But for this example, I'll actually be using the Insta360 1RS, which is essentially a GoPro type action camera. And it just screws on quite easily right here. And the only thing you have to kind of be wary about is that the selfie stick doesn't have some sort of adjustable angle to it. So you might want to attach some sort of other hinge onto the selfie stick and then attach the GoPro or action camera to that. And then from here, I can sort of adjust my angle. And you'll see in the footage right now, I can get a over the shoulder point of view of me hiking with this camera bag. But because you do have two of these selfie sticks on both sides of the camera, you can actually attach another light or other accessory to the other stick, and then your camera on the other stick, and you have a mobile setup for actually capturing content on the go. And these do kind of wobble a bit. They're not gonna fall necessarily, but you do want to make sure you're on one, an even surface, and two, that the backpack is filled with some sort of weight. I find that the camera battery is more than enough to really hold this thing down and keep a solid base for when you're doing these on-the-go shoots. And speaking of the battery, because it is accessible right here, if any of these accessories do get low, you can simply plug them into their right adapter and actually keep powering them, so you never have to worry about running out of battery on your shoot. So the selfie stick is technically weighted to hold roughly 4.4 pounds. So I think that's just about 2 kilograms. And so depending on how big your camera setup is, you could technically mount this and use this as a tripod for your main camera. But on the R5 Mark II that I own, that thing is way too big for this. And so it would definitely collapse and actually push down and not really be useful. But on a smaller kit like the R6 Mark II here with a smaller lens like the 50mm f1.8, it's actually perfect and works extremely well and is really stable. Granted, there's not a lot of wind, like right now, there isn't. And so once you let the camera bag settle on the ground with the camera on it, it actually makes for a great makeshift tripod for even your main camera. And I really got to give props to the Coalax team because they really thought of everything and they went above and beyond when creating this backpack. And what makes me say that is they actually have a solar panel that is included, so you can actually charge the battery during the day while you're hiking. And it's very easy to attach. There's a bunch of these little bungee cords that attach to the corners, and all around the backpack, you'll see that they have all these attachment points that you just simply anchor these bungee cords around. And so it's very easy to just slip on, as you'll see. And as you can see, now you have the solar panel attached. But to actually provide power, you just need to connect the cable to the battery, which is on the other side. And just like that, you're able to harness the power of the sun to help provide power to not only your battery, but any of the accessories that will be attached to it. This comes in really clutch when you have those really long days of traveling, hiking, anything like that. So this backpack is really geared and designed for those adventure outdoor content creators. What I also really appreciate about this camera bag is how ergonomic and comfortable it really is to wear. Despite having this hard shell exoskeleton design you might think is uncomfortable to wear, it actually isn't, and I think it actually helps keep the bag a little more compact and stay sturdy as you actually forces you to keep your back a little more straight. And because this backpack can carry so much equipment, this thing can get pretty heavy pretty quickly. And so what I really appreciate is that they not only have the chest strap here that allows you to take advantage of your torso to help hold the bag, but you also get a waist strap that allows you to use your lower back and your core to help you actually hold this bag for long durations. If you're someone who goes hiking a lot, you really know the difference what a waist belt can do. And so I really appreciate that they included it with this camera bag. Everything's been really great with this camera bag so far, but one of the claims I'm most skeptical about and kind of worried to test is its waterproof rating, which is IPX6. So I didn't know what IPX6 waterproof rating meant, so I actually had to Google it. And essentially it just means that it can take medium to gentle jets of water and even seawater impacts directly to the camera bag without leaking. And so I'm going to put that to test here with some dumps of water. All my camera equipment is actually in there, at least the second camera I have. And so fingers crossed they aren't lying here. So we're going to start with the front here, and I'm just going to splash it as if it's coming from the side here. Oh God. And now we'll check the back side, which is where the main compartment is, and we'll do one more splash test. Okay, so here we are just moments after I just threw a bunch of water at it, just about like 2 liters or so. And you can see it's still fairly wet, but let's see if anything inside got wet, because if the outside's wet, that's not a problem. It's the inside I'm worried about. And I'm just happy to report it is as dry as a whistle in here. Even if you feel the edges, I don't really get much wetness. Actually, I feel it a bit on this seam that sort of touches the zipper, but very, very lightly wet on that side. And maybe it might be from just me adjusting it, but everything in here is as dry as a whistle. It's looking pretty good. Oh, you can feel this hinge that separates these two pockets is slightly wet as well. But otherwise, it is astonishingly dry, and I am grateful. Nothing in there got wet, thank God. That would be like $7,000 to $9,000 worth of stuff that would have got ruined. All right, now let's check the front of the bag here and see how it holds up. This main compartment on the bottom, well, I don't feel anything wet on the interior here. Looks very good. None of those cables will be ruined. Let's see this middle compartment now. We can actually check this front main part. And the interior actually slightly damp. So definitely this exterior pocket is at most risk of getting wet. So nothing surprising there, especially since there's like an opening here for the water to escape through, depending on the angle it approaches. But inside, surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, everything is perfect and safe and dry. I wish I had more things to fill this backpack with, but that compartment is fine. And now we can check this compartment, the drone bag, as they like to call it, which it kind of looks like one, which has my microphone. And there are no signs of wet material here. The GoPro or Insta360 is doing well. Yeah, I can confidently say this thing can take a decent beating of water without ever actually leaking inside and damaging your very, very important camera equipment. So, huge win. I definitely don't recommend throwing water on it intentionally though. Okay, so I threw a lot at you, and as you can see, this backpack really holds up to all of its claims that it's made. But it's not perfect. So what are some of its biggest flaws? Number one, I found it extremely tedious and cumbersome to actually assemble. When you get this camera bag, you're gonna get it in a bunch of different boxes with different pieces of it. And I've never been more confused when trying to actually assemble a camera bag. You think they're very simple, but because of all the extra features and benefits that this camera bag specifically has, you do kind of have to spend some more time actually understanding what each compartment is and what all the pieces do, and assembling each of those little pieces. So it really did take me a whole separate day to really put everything together the way I like, and to sort of understand everything that I can show you in this video. Number two, the selfie stick isn't super stable. I think I showed you this outside as well. If it's a really windy day, the selfie stick is definitely going to shake, especially when you get towards the longer length of the stick. So even in those tracking shots I showed you early on in the video, you can see that it's rather shaky, especially because it is just tracking with my feet. So I think the selfie stick is really ideal for people who have a 360 camera. You can technically use an action camera like I did, but it's not very stable in that scenario. And if you do use your mirrorless camera on it, just make sure it's under that 4.4 pound weight limit. And you want to make sure you put it down, because if you're going to try to walk and talk with it, honestly, I don't really think the footage is going to come out really good. And my biggest gripe with this camera bag is that it's not really airplane safe. I can understand that the 300 watt power bank I cannot use on an airplane or bring on an airplane, because they have a limit of 100 watt hours, and so you want something under that. And to Coalax's credit, they do have a 99 watt hour version of the battery. But even with that said, the bag is just too big with the exoskeleton on to be used as a personal item when you go to fly. So unfortunately, I'm forced in many cases to actually check this bag or use it as the overhead space bin for travel, which I think is really inconvenient and sort of almost defeats the purpose of this being an adventure outdoor bag. Granted, I'm not always on a plane, and so it's not a complete deal breaker, but I just wish it was just a hair smaller so that it could be a personal item size for most airlines. But those are all really just small complaints. Overall, this camera bag is actually damn near perfect. I absolutely love its design. I love how rugged it feels. I'm really grateful that it is waterproof, and they even give you a rain cover just in case if you need it for those really rainy outdoor situations. And although it's too big to be a personal item, I think the fact that it can hold up to 35 liters is really impressive, and is something that is really useful if you are packing for long trips outdoors. Let's say you're creating content at Joshua Tree or something along those lines. The fact that you can just carry one camera bag and have all of your equipment and the actual power supply to recharge that equipment is amazing, and I think is the biggest benefit that this camera bag brings to the marketplace. There will be a link in the description that you can use to get a little discount on the camera bag itself. If you just get like the base model with the least amount of accessories, the bag's gonna run you $350. And if you go with the fully decked out one with all the accessories and even the solar panel that I got to highlight earlier, that's gonna actually cost you $650. So this bag is definitely not cheap by any means, but I think for what you're getting and how long it's going to last you, it is totally worth it. But only if you are someone who goes out into those outdoor terrains. If not, I think this camera bag is definitely a little overkill, and you can probably get away with something a little bit smaller, although this camera bag does have the modularity to be a lot more compact and smaller with the different slings and options for it. But I digress. What do you think? Is this camera bag something you absolutely need, or is it more of a, I just really want it? If you enjoyed this review, you can check out my other gear reviews in this playlist here. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. I appreciate every single one of you who do, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.